The massive ship glided through the dark space like a silver knife cutting through black silk. Its hull gleamed with complex metal plates that shifted and shimmered under the distant starlight. The Calrax diplomatic vessel was not just a ship, it was a marvel of technology, a symbol of their advanced civilization. Captain Juan Park stood at the main control center, his four eyes blinking in different rhythms. Each eye could see different spectrums of light, giving him an incredible ability to understand his surroundings. Today, something felt different. The space around them seemed too calm, too quiet. "Status report," he called out to his team. Dr. J. Kim looked up from her complex monitoring equipment. Her hands moved quickly over holographic screens that projected colorful data streams into the air. "Captain," she said, her voice steady but with a hint of excitement, "we're approaching an interesting star system." The ship's massive scanners began their work. Invisible waves of energy spread out, touching and measuring everything in their path. These scanners could detect life forms from millions of kilometers away. They could read the chemical composition of distant planets and identify potential threats or resources. The third planet in this system caught everyone's attention. It looked ordinary at first, blue, green, with white clouds swirling around its surface. But the data told a different story. "Anomalous readings," Dr. Kim muttered, her fingers dancing across the control panel. "Multiple biological signatures, but they don't match anything in our databases." Captain Park moved closer, his additional eyes focusing on the screen. The planet looked peaceful, almost beautiful. Green lands, blue oceans, white cloud patterns. But the scanner data was strange. It showed complex life forms that seemed to move and change in ways that made no sense. "Send the first reconnaissance drone," Park ordered. The drone was a marvel of Calrax engineering. Small, about the size of a human hand, it could transform its shape, adapt to different environments, and send back high-resolution data. It moved silently from the main ship, its metallic body reflecting the starlight. As the drone approached the planet, the communication team watched carefully. They expected to see landscapes, perhaps some primitive life forms. What they would see would change everything they knew about the universe. The first images started coming back. Green forests, mountain ranges, small bodies of water. Everything looked normal. Then something unusual happened. The drone's signal began to flutter. Strange interference appeared on the screens. Dr. Kim leaned forward, her multiple fingers pressing buttons rapidly. "We're losing the signal," she said. And then nothing. The drone disappeared. No explosion, no crash, no signal, just gone. Silence filled the ship's control room. Captain Park's four eyes blinked in a pattern that showed deep concentration. Something was watching them. Something was here. But what? Little did the Calrax know, they had just entered human territory. And humanity was always watching. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Not a single leaf moved. Not a single sound broke the silence. But something was there. Hundreds of special operations soldiers stood perfectly still, their bodies completely invisible to any known technology. Commander Da Choi watched the screens in their hidden underground base. His fingers moved lightly over complex control panels that looked more like art than military equipment. Each screen showed different views of the planet's surface. Forests, mountains, oceans, all monitored with incredible precision. Humans had learned to survive long ago. They had learned that in space, being seen meant being destroyed. So they developed technology that made them invisible. Not just hidden, not just camouflaged, completely unseen. The quantum adaptive camouflage was more than just a cover. It was a living technology that could change faster than any scanner could detect. It read the environment, copied it perfectly, and made the wearer completely invisible. Thermal signatures, light waves, sound, everything was controlled and hidden. Commander Choi remembered the old stories, how humans had once been just another species on a small blue planet, how they had been attacked multiple times by alien races who thought they were weak. Each attack made humans stronger. Each invasion taught them how to fight better. Target acquisition. A soft voice said through the communication system. The Kalrak ship was now fully in their view. Hundreds of special operations soldiers were spread across the planet's surface. Some were in forests. Some were near mountain ranges. Some were hidden in deep ocean valleys. All of them waiting. All of them ready. Each soldier carried weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Micro-missiles that could track targets through multiple dimensions. Energy weapons that could cut through the strongest alien shields. Nanotechnology that could disable entire computer systems in milliseconds. But their best weapon was not a physical thing. It was fear. Humans had learned that the most powerful weapon was not something you could see or touch. It was the fear of the unknown. The terror of knowing something was watching you, but you couldn't see it. Commander Choi pressed a small button. Across the planet, soldiers began to move. Not with sound. Not with movement that could be detected. They moved like ghosts, their technology making them part of the environment. The first stage of their plan was simple: observe and assess. The Kalraks would never know they were being watched. Every move would be tracked. Every communication would be intercepted. Humans would know everything about these aliens before the aliens knew anything about humans. Prepare communication fragment protocol, Commander Choi said quietly. This was humanity's territory, and no one, absolutely no one, would threaten their home again. The first drone disappeared without a sound. Then another, and another. Dr. Su-Jin Lee stood in the control room, her hands shaking slightly as she watched the screens. Each drone sent to explore the mysterious planet simply vanished. No crash signals. No emergency alerts. Nothing. "This is impossible," she whispered. The Kalrak's research team had sent their most advanced technology. These were not simple machines. Each drone was packed with sensors that could detect the tiniest changes in environment. They could survive extreme temperatures. They could see through thick clouds and deep forests. They could communicate even in the worst conditions. And yet, they were gone. On the main screen, a map showed the drone paths. Little blue dots moved toward the planet's surface. Then, one by one, they simply winked out. No explosion. No signal interference. Just gone. Captain Wang Park watched carefully. His 4 eyes moved between different screens, each eye seeing a different type of information. Something was not right. Something was watching them. "Send another drone," he ordered. The new drone looked different. It was bigger, stronger, covered in extra protective layers. It had weapons. It had advanced shields. If something was destroying the other drones, this one would fight back. Dr. Lee prepared the launch sequence. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panels. Holographic displays showed every possible detail about the drone. Its temperature, its shield strength, its communication systems. Everything looked perfect. The drone launched. For the first few minutes, everything seemed normal. It moved smoothly toward the planet. Its sensors scanned the surface. Green forests, mountain ranges, small lakes. Nothing unusual. Then, suddenly, silence. The drone disappeared. Panic started to spread through the ship. The Kalraks were not used to losing technology. Their civilization was built on perfect systems, perfect control, perfect understanding. But something on this planet was breaking all their rules. "We are being watched," Captain Park said quietly. Dr. Lee looked at him. Her face was pale. But by what? No one had an answer. In the forests below, hidden from every scanner, human special operations teams remained perfectly still. They had been watching. They had been waiting. And they had just sent a clear message to the alien visitors. This was human territory, and no one was welcome without permission. More Kalrak ships entered the star system. Each ship carried hundreds of researchers, soldiers, and technology experts. They were sure they could solve the mystery of the disappearing drones. They were wrong. The first research team landed on the planet's surface. Their protective suits were the best in the galaxy. They had shields that could stop any known weapon. They had communication systems that could work through solid rock. They had medical technology that could heal almost any injury. Within an hour, they vanished. No signals, no emergency calls, no distress messages, just complete silence. Captain Wong Park watched the screens in horror. His 4 eyes moved quickly between different displays. Nothing made sense. No radiation signatures, no weapon discharge, no biological interference. It was like the entire team had simply been erased from existence. "Send the military team," he ordered. The military team was different. These were not researchers. These were trained warriors. They carried weapons that could destroy entire cities. Their armor could stop almost any attack. They had tracking systems that could find a single living cell across vast distances. They landed in a different location. Thick forests surrounded them. Tall trees blocked most of the sunlight. The ground was soft with years of fallen leaves. Everything seemed peaceful, but something was wrong. The team moved carefully. Their weapons were ready. Their sensors scanned every centimeter of the area. They expected anything. An ambush, a hidden weapon, a trap. What they did not expect was complete and total silence. One by one, their communication signals began to break up. Strange noises appeared in their communication systems. Sounds that were not quite words, not quite machine sounds. Something else. Then silence. Another team gone. Back on the ship, panic started to spread. The Calracs were not used to losing. Their technology was supposed to be perfect. Their military was supposed to be unbeatable. But something on this planet was breaking all their rules. In the forests below, human special operations teams continued to watch. They had been preparing for this moment for years. Each alien invasion had taught them something new. Each attack had made them stronger. And now, they were sending a clear message to the universe. This was human territory, and no one was welcome without permission. Commander Dai Choi sat in the underground control center. Hundreds of screens showed different views of the Calrac ships. His team had been watching, waiting, planning. Now was the time to send a message. The communication protocol was carefully designed. Humans would not show everything. They would only reveal small pieces of information, just enough to make the Calracs understand, just enough to make them afraid. The first transmission went out. It was not a direct message. It was a series of broken signals, data fragments that seemed random at first, but they were not random. Each piece was carefully chosen. On the Calrac ship, strange things started happening. Historical records began to appear on their screens. Old videos, damaged files, broken communication logs. Each piece told a small part of human history. A video showed a city destroyed by alien attacks. Tall buildings burning, people running. But something else was clear. Humans had survived. Another fragment showed human technology. Weapons that could destroy entire planets. Ships that could travel through impossible spaces. Shields that could stop any attack. Dr. Su Jin Lee watched in confusion. These were not complete records. They were pieces of a larger puzzle. But each piece showed something important. Humans were not weak. Humans were survivors. More fragments appeared. A battle where humans fought against multiple alien races. A space station destroyed and then rebuilt. A planet that had been attacked 3 times. And each time, humans came back stronger. The Calrac's leadership began to understand. These were not just random messages. This was a warning. Commander Choi smiled. Psychological warfare was an art, and humans were masters. Each fragment was designed to show something specific. Humans were not looking for a fight, but they were also not afraid. They would protect their territory. They would defend their home. The messages continued. More fragments. More broken information, each piece telling a small part of the human story. Survival, strength, adaptation. On the Calrac ship, fear started to grow. What kind of species could survive so much? What kind of civilization could turn every attack into a moment of growth? Humans had an answer. They were that species. They were that civilization. The Calrax leadership meeting was not going well. Grand Leader Tark sat at the center of the massive circular room. His tentacles moved nervously. Around him, other leaders watched screens that showed broken human messages. Each fragment made them more afraid. "We cannot understand them," one leader said. "They are watching us," another whispered. The room was filled with fear. The Calrax were used to being the strongest species in the galaxy. They had conquered many worlds. They had destroyed many civilizations. But something was different this time. Humans were different. More messages appeared on the screens. Each one showed a small piece of human history. A city rebuilt after destruction. A space battle where humans survived impossible odds. Technology that seemed to break all known rules. The psychological impact was immediate. Military units began to show signs of breakdown. Soldiers who were once brave now looked scared. Communication systems became filled with nervous chatter. People talked about invisible enemies, hunters that could not be seen. Grand Leader Tark tried to calm everyone, but even he felt the fear. How could a species survive so much? How could they turn every attack into a moment of strength? The human messages were not just information. They were a weapon. Psychological warfare was an art, and humans were masters. Each message was designed to create doubt, to make the Calrax question everything they knew about warfare, about survival, about themselves. The first reports of mental breakdowns came quickly. Entire military units stopped responding, not because they were attacked, but because they were afraid. Fear is a powerful weapon. Humans knew this better than anyone. On the planet below, human special operations teams watched. They did not need to fight. They only needed to make the Calrax believe they could fight. Commander Dadchoy smiled. The plan was working perfectly. The Calrax were breaking, not by weapons, not by physical attacks, but by the power of information, by the terror of the unknown. Humans had learned long ago that the most powerful weapon is not something you can see or touch. It is the fear of what might be waiting in the darkness. And right now, in this moment, humans were the darkness. The communication came suddenly. Grand Leader Tark sat in the main control room. His four eyes looked tired. His tentacles moved slowly. Around him, other leaders waited. They had been waiting for hours, days, hoping for a solution. The message appeared on the main screen. It was simple, clear, direct. "We are not your enemy," the message said, "but we will defend ourselves. Always." The words were not just a message. They were a warning, a promise. Humans had learned long ago that communication is more than words. It is about sending a clear message, about showing strength without showing weakness. Commander Da Choi watched from the hidden base. Every screen showed the Calrax ship. Every sensor tracked their movements. Humans were always watching, always ready. The Calrax leadership talked. They argued. Some wanted to attack. Some wanted to run. Some wanted to negotiate. But they all understood one thing. Humans were different. They had survived multiple alien attacks. They had turned every invasion into a moment of growth. They had developed technology that could hide them, technology that could protect them. And they were not afraid. The message continued. More information appeared. Small pieces of human history, technological achievements, survival stories. Each piece was a weapon. Not a physical weapon, but a weapon of information, of understanding. The Calrax began to realize something important. Humans were not looking for a fight, but they were ready for one. They would protect their territory. They would defend their home, no matter the cost. Commander Choi smiled. The plan was working perfectly. Humans did not need to attack. They only needed to make the Calrax understand. This was human territory, and no one was welcome without permission. Part 8. A new understanding. In the end, the Calrax made a choice that few alien species had made before them. They chose diplomacy over confrontation. As the first diplomatic envoy approached Earth, they carried with them a fundamental understanding. Humans were not just another species in the galaxy. They were the predators that everyone feared, but no one could see coming. The invisible hunters had made their point. The first diplomatic ship approached Earth slowly, very slowly. Grand Leader Tark knew they were being watched. Every movement would be tracked. Every communication would be checked. Humans would know everything before the ship even got close. The ship carried no weapons, no attack systems, just communication tools, just hope. Humans had made their point clear. They were not looking for a fight, but they would defend themselves if needed. Commander Da Choi watched from the hidden base. Hundreds of special operations teams were ready, not to attack, but to protect, to defend. The Calracs had a choice. They could try to fight, or they could try to understand. They chose understanding. The communication came slowly, carefully. Each message was checked. Each word was thought about. The Calracs knew they were talking to a species that had survived multiple attacks, a species that could hide, a species that could protect itself. Humans were not just another civilization in the galaxy. They were something different. They were predators that no one could see coming. The first real conversation happened after weeks of careful communication. No physical meeting. Just information exchange. Just understanding. The Calracs learned about human history, about how they had been attacked, about how they had survived, about how they had grown stronger with each attack. Humans learned about Calracs' culture, about their ways, about their history. Slowly, something changed. Fear began to turn into respect. Commander Choi knew this was the real victory. Not fighting, not destroying, but making other species understand. Humans were not looking for war, but they were always ready to defend themselves. The invisible hunters had made their point.